invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we ask that you preside over our meeting and our labors and to bless all of our endeavors. Help us to build a community united in harmony of love and service. Watch over our family at home, work, and at school. We thank you, Lord, for everything that is our wisdom and knowledge and that equips us more fully for the task of life and living. Give us knowledge and prudence to which we will enable us to live our life well. Teach us to know our own weaknesses, that we may ever be on our guard against them, and teach us to know our own strengths, that we may use to the fullest gifts and talents which you have given us. Help us to share a loving concern for each other at all times. Above all, Lord, help us to really know you, for you are the beginning and the end of all wisdom. This is eternal life. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, once again, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. We'll start with the roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Here.
Mr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Redding?
Here.
Mrs. Dosa?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mrs. Rissel? Here.
Okay, all counted for. You have before you the minutes from the July 16th council meeting before you. Any corrections or alterations that anybody sees that need to be made? None? Then I would ask that somebody make a motion to approve as printed.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes as printed.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt as printed, seconded by Mr. Redding. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Also, at the same time, you have the minutes before you from the July 23rd special meeting. Is there any questions about this?
Yep. In the first sentence, I was the president pro tempore that meeting,
Not me. Yeah, I wasn't here.
and in the roll call, Mrs. Lingo wasn't here. So then we have to add in the absent and excused. I think Mr. George made a motion to excuse Ms. Lingo, and I think Joe did, Mr. Redding probably seconded that. And then in each of the ordinances, the vote should have been 6-0. And finally, adjournment was at about 6:15, not 6:48.
The roll call's all listed as 5-0.
6-0 on all three of them.
Yeah, that's what it should be, but it's. Did everybody get that? Those corrections?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion was made by Mr. Parsons. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Redding? To adopt the minutes as corrected. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, then. Thank you. Correspondence. Chief, it says your monthly report is here, but am I missing it, or?
That's here. It's in the packet.
Well, I know. Okay.
Oh, you got it, okay.
All right, we're not going to go through this.
It's on the
but we-
back of page 4.
Yeah. Okay, we will not go through that item by item tonight, but if you have any questions, the chief is here. Guest and special events. Mr. Bauer, anybody? Okay,
Are they during?
During mayor's report.
No.
okay. Public input. Anybody here who would like to address city council may do so now. Hi, come on up to the podium. Give us your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Sierra George, and my address is 1440 Hill Avenue. I just wanted to report back on the backpack event that we had this past weekend, well, last weekend. It was a really good event. It was 2 days, and on Saturday, we had haircuts, free haircuts for the community. We had Catherine, she came in and did face painting for us. We had the Metro Now bus, our van, come in, and they did tours for the kids, which was really cool. And then the first day, we ended up having over 200 backpacks. And within 30, 45 minutes, everything was gone. So we had to, Cordell went back out to the store for us, and got us some more supplies. So the second day, we had different festivities. We ended up having the magician come out. Thank you, Keisha, for that. And then we were, within an hour, we ended up out of everything. And thank you, Sarah, for your donation as well. And thank everyone else who donated, Mayor Moody. Also, the Mount Healthy Alliance was in attendance. So was the library, the public library, and they also had products that they were giving away. So there were some women's health items, and then there was also other supplies they were giving out. Everyone was out of everything very, very early. On Saturday, it was supposed to be a 5-hour event, but we had to stop it within 3 because we were out of everything. Same thing on Sunday. It's supposed to be 3 hours. We had to stop within the first 2, which was a little bit better. But we impacted over 400 families, and that was huge, especially for Peachtree's first event. And it's not just in Mount Healthy, but this was our first backpack event ever, and we partnered with Emmanuel Church and their nonprofit Love in Action. So that was really cool. So I'm almost finished. We raised over $1,000 altogether, so thank you for everyone that donated. And we went over a little bit over that because we had to keep going out and going to the stores, but we were able to give away a lot of shoes, coloring books, pencils, pens, markers, sticky notes, notepads, anything that you can think of, folders. So I really feel like we impacted the city of Mount Healthy and the kids on their way back to school. So I just want to say thank you and follow up with all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
George.
you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to address council tonight? Dave? No? Any problems in the alley? I hate to bring it up, really. Okay. Committees and commissions. Beautification, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
Business Partnership and Alliance, Mr. Young.
Kind of combine business partnership and economic development together a little bit. I was not able to go to last business association meeting because of work schedule, but on the economic development side, Third Century Mount Healthy has hired Yarding Company for the business district to do a study on the business properties, and they've actually started that here at the end of July, 1st of August, and that will be completed in the next 2 to 4 months. So, and they've already gotten back to them with some preliminary things and some questions. They're putting a task force together with local businesses and residents. That'll be the first, in the first phase there to kind of help direct some of those things. So that's a big deal. So that's something that's moving on pretty quickly here, so. And then, Scott, are you gonna talk about Antique Mall at all, about that
Yep,
grant?
I can talk
Okay.
about it.
So I won't go there. And I think that's really about all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. Questions for Mr. Young? Economic Development, you've done that. Finance, Mr. Parsons.
I don't have a report, but I am going to call a Finance Committee meeting for September 17th. That's 2 council meetings from now at 5:30. We usually can't get done in an hour, so we'll start at 5:30. I hope the committee members can make that, and the mayor. And we will be going over the year-to-date financials through August, see how we're doing and if we needed to make any adjustments.
Okay. What time was that meeting? 5:30, you said? right?
5:30 on the 17th of September.
Okay.
Plan to meet in Mr. Bauer's office, city manager.
Library, Ms. Dosa.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. I talked to Lainey, who's here today, and she can correct me if I'm incorrect on the updates, but David Grant is supposed to speak on September 25th at the Aronoff Center for the Arts as the 2024 Mary Stein Lecture Series speaker. There's tickets that are available for that event if you would like to do that. At the new library location, the interior finishes are in progress and are expected to be completed on schedule. They're working on the roof, and the site work is expected to be done in September. The project is on track for a temporary certificate of occupancy in September, and there will be a grand opening early November. Also, one of our neighboring branches, the Forest Park branch, will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony on September the 14th for their new building. The summer reading program was a huge success. 29,044 kids and teens joined the summer reading in June and July and had picked up free books and challenge sheets. That's awesome. And then there's a lot of other available programs and events on the main webpage for our library. Just go to chpl.org for upcoming available programs for all ages. Since school started, it might update, but just go check if there's other programs available that you would like to participate in. Can I go ahead on to parks?
Sure.
Park Commission. The 2024 Summer Concert Series has 2 remaining concerts. So far, we've had a wonderful turnout for the concert series in spite of the weather, the unpredictable weather, and it has been wonderful. We've had a great participation from council and other people welcoming our bands and just being there and supporting the events in the park, so thank you for that. We had our pool party in the park, which was on August 2nd, and we had a very good turnout for that. We had members of the Fog Band come out to support. We had several members of the community come out to support. We had special drinks. We had appetizers and a lot of fellowship amongst the community and people. A special thanks to Pastor Allie Baker and her husband, who came out and supported and did the makeshift bar for us. We had some special drinks for that night. Special thanks to Mr. Young, the Mount Healthy pool staff, Mayor Moody, the Park Commission, and Catherine Cupp. She came out to do face painting and henna tattoos for anybody that wanted it. I'm very thankful and appreciative for any volunteers that came to help to make that day special. And a very, very, very special thank you to the City of Mount Healthy for the usage of the pool and the donation of swim passes for our raffles. We also had vendors from our community donate goodies, and the Native Moon Apothecary were very generous in their donations to the raffles. So I want to make sure I thank them. And it was certainly a fun event for the City of Mount Healthy. And I am so thankful that we have continued to work together as a community very tirelessly to continue to bring programs and events to the park. I feel like we are having more participation from people that live in Mount Healthy. We're bringing more families together with the inclusion of having the park equipment. So it's nice to see that and nice to see people come out for the programs and the concert series that we're having, and just to come together in the community and help support all the events that we're having. I think that all I see is a further strengthening of our community. So with that, future planning, we do plan to have a movie in the park night. More details to follow. We will be having a park commission meeting on the 17th at 6 p.m. in Chambers, but I heard you say that you're having one at 5:30 downstairs, right? So that won't be a conflict. Okay. So 6 o'clock on the 17th. Parks. In Chambers prior to council meeting. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Dosa? Okay, thank you very much. Safety, Mr. Redding.
Just a couple of things. I noticed today that the speed monitor is on Elizabeth Street, so glad to hear that. And secondly, and most important, school's in, so please be careful driving, especially early in the morning. There's kids waiting for the bus stops, and especially down at Elizabeth and Madison. I noticed them out this morning, so please be careful about that. So watch the stop signs and watch the intersections especially. So that is all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Redding? Okay, schools, Mr. George.
Mr. Redding said it, school's back in session. I would encourage the community to follow the social media for the school district and check out some of the exciting stories that I'm sorry, it's got to be me. On the school district's website, but other than that, no report.
Okay, thank you.
When exactly did the school start?
It was last week because they had their first football game.
Last week,
Last
okay.
Friday night, yeah.
Thank you.
Streets, Ms. Rissel.
Not really anything, except I was over on Forest and Madison Way. It looks like they're coming along. I mean, you gotta be careful though. I didn't even see the dip and it was like, whoa. So, but it looks like they're moving right along. Good for me.
Okay. Questions for Ms. Rissel?
Well, I have a question about the street thing, probably for Mr. Bauer. I looked down Madison where they're working, and that's a very narrow, it looks like there's no room for parking. Is that going to be no parking on that part of Madison?
I assume it'll just be one side. I'd have to double check, but I think it will have a
Okay,
fire
then.
lane.
Looks like there's barely room for two cars to go.
Right.
They put pretty good size right-of-ways between the sidewalk and the street. I guess that's the way they measured it out, the engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What section of Madison were you talking about there?
Park to Forest.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, some of the
Part of the
curb.
Forest Avenue, rebuilding the street up there too.
They need it there.
Are they gonna, Scott, are they gonna get started on the south end of Harrison this year yet?
It's looking like it's going to be next year. Yeah. And they
About
knew
this-
it would be a push, rushed if we did it this year. I thought there was still a chance, but it's going to be next year, most likely spring when
How about
construction
the
will start.
speed bump on the north end?
It's there.
Have you driven over it? It's
I
there.
haven't been down there since
Yeah,
it's been
take
put
it,
in.
take it for a ride. It's there.
Okay.
You can hit it at 20, I think, and be fine. 25, you'll feel it, but 20, it's there though. Yeah.
So I can, we just walked by there over the weekend, and it was there, and I was like, that doesn't look like much of a speed hump. And then somebody drove over it a little quick, and I was like, oh, well, never mind, it is. So hopefully that deters folks from.
Yeah, I think it
from
went in
speeding through
Thursday.
there.
It's not as pronounced as the one on Adams, but I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, it's enough that
Yeah.
you're going to feel it. I don't think you'd want to go over more than 25 on it, so,
All right. Not trying to break axles, just trying to slow them down.
right.
Yep.
Okay, that's all the committee and commission reports. Mayor's report, Ms. Moody.
Yes, a few things. Went to the We Thrive meeting. Scott joined us at We Thrive today. Talked about the pop-up demonstration grant that'll be put into place, traffic calming at the intersection of Compton and Perry Street. So looking forward to seeing how that's going to be developing. We had a report from Sierra on the backpack event at We Thrive. The Poetress Grant, where they're putting in poetry markers or where you can read poetry, that's still being installed. And we did talk a little bit about Christmas in Mount Healthy. There are some businesses that have been working together a little bit in trying to come up with a plan. They'll be working with the park committee. They want to be at the park to talk about how they're going to do Christmas in Mount Healthy. I'm not sure, I mean, I don't believe we have a business association operation right now, so businesses are kind of concerned as to what's going to be happening. So Kim Cremines is kind of organizing it a little bit, and I just want to piggyback on what Keisha was saying. We've got a lot of community involvement going on. People that want to be part of the Park Commission now, people at We Thrive, the meetings, sometimes there are 15 people there, and so I think it's wonderful that we've got people in the community that want to start getting involved and give their input. We have a steering committee for the streetscape. There's a task force now going to be for the other economic development that we've asked Third Century to kind of help spearhead with us. So we're excited. Also went to a Mulberry Festival planning meeting. Mulberry Festival will be probably the first weekend or so in June, and so there's a committee in town working on that. So very thankful for that. Went to the Tree Commission meeting, was invited to Tom Davis's house to meet with the Tree Commission. They need members. So anyone who would like to be involved in the Tree Commission, they surely would appreciate you joining them. And it was basically just talking about what their plans are and concerning the grant. So I was very thankful that I was invited to that. Also just want to say before I invite someone up to give us some more information, Paul and I have been going to Mayor's Court a little bit. It's been informative, and I just want to tell residents that when you think you don't have the police checking on people running through red lights or stop signs, they are. You go to Mayor's Court and people are being cited. So I think when people are thinking, when they see somebody going through a stop sign, through a red light, and they're thinking, where are the police? Well, you know, this is happening around our nation, really, basically. People not really looking very seriously at the driving statistics and how to drive safely anymore. And the police are out there. So when you go to Mayor's Court, you can see that they are working to keep our community safe. So I do want to say that I appreciate that, and it is informative to go to Mayor's Court to see how that all is dealt with. Right now, I have invited Dave Austria to come. I see Tom has come too. We had our first facade improvement project, which was Angelo's. And you know, Angelo's has been here for a long time. A beloved business here in town, owned by a business owner who lives here in town. He owns the building, and when we got the first facade grant, we were looking at where could we make an impact, and I just would like Dave to get up, and of course Tom's here too, and just talk a little bit about what they've learned through this. We're getting more facade improvement money. We do not have the staff here in the city to look at how the project works. So we've got, again, people in this community that have been working for couple years, and it's called Third Century Mount Healthy, and their website will be going live in the next few weeks, I'm hoping. And they've been helping the city on their own time with their professional background to help us make an impact with the money that the county, that we're receiving from the county as we do apply for grants. So Dave, could you get up and just talk a little bit about the Angelo project?
Dave Osterday, 7429 Retley Place. I talked to most of you, heard me up here before. So Angelo's was the first project we took on with the county and the city asked, and you know, we didn't really talk to a lot of people about what we were doing. We just wanted to go out and do it, make something happen, put some proof in the pudding. I think that's out there. And then, you know, recently the city's gotten another grant to do more facades, and so we're starting to work on that. We have one of the board members, Stephen Maynard, is taking on, he took on sort of the day-to-day, he had some time to manage Angelo's with the contractor we worked there, and then my office that I work for helped put together a design. So the three of them kind of got together and did the day-to-day operation to get that facade done. Right now with the city, we're looking at putting together an application qualifier type thing. There's only so much money to go in the grant. So we're trying to get that through and get that published through the city's website, so local business owners can apply and help fund their facade improvement. Some of the other stuff that we are working on, it's quite a bit. As Paul mentioned, we've got Yard and Company, who's an urban planner, who's sort of interweaving with what Scott and that steering committee is doing on the streetscape, but they're more focused on city-owned properties around the core business district. We had a first kickoff with them about a month or so ago. We had a check-in with them last week, and we've put together a task force of, like Paul mentioned, some various business owners and residents of Mount Healthy. So like the folks that own the Reggae Shop, the Blend's Barber Shop, Hilltop Glass, the folks that are on our board, and a few other, Gail at the Apothecary, a few others that are on that, a couple of council members we asked to be on it too, just to keep that group informed. We're going to be kicking that off next month. I've got a survey and an invite that's going to be going out for that, and we're going to make use of the city building to make that happen. Also along that front, we've had a company called Market Foresight, and we reviewed a first pass from them that looks at the sort of the demographics that make up the community, and what they use these tapestry reports that kind of tell you what's the income, what's the education, what's the demographic of your community, and then how do you grow off of that. So we're working with that as well. And then I feel like there's one I'm missing there. We did have a productive conversation with a group called Alloy that's part of the county this afternoon to get their help in some help with what funding is out there, with tax abatement programs, what funds are available from the county and the state. So that was good. We're exploring where that goes with partner developers on some other properties. And then we also have a group, a development construction group that is doing pro forma, so that you guys probably know there's 12-ish sites, single-family home sites around the city that are city-owned, that we just cut grass on and leave sit vacant. We're looking at putting some single-family homes on those, and they're hoping to put together some architectural plans and a pro forma to do that, and supposed to have our check-in with them next week. So I think we spent 2 years trying to figure this all out, looking at buying properties, and we finally got some momentum going. So I know that there are some people who've maybe been a little bit impatient to see something out of us, but I feel like it's really going now. We've spent the first 2 years trying to figure out and organize. We know there's some folks in the community that ask, like, who are these people? So like Jenny said, we actually do have a live website now. It's thirdcenturymount.healthy.squarespace.com is the URL. And that is actually going to get hosted, or not hosted on, but linked through the city's website. And we're doing that because we don't have our SEO yet, which is search engine optimization. So if you have the link, you can get to it. You know the URL, you can get to it. But the site is not searchable from Google or Yahoo or whatever other engines like that, because we don't have our federal nonprofit status yet, which was to the back burner for us because we didn't need it doing what we were doing, and we were trying to get Angelo's done. But that is in the works. We have to show 3 years of financials, which we've only existed for 2, so I don't know how we do that, but we're trying to figure it out. But for now, you can get to our site through the city's site. That link will be on there, and I think we're going to do something with the Facebook post too. The other thing that we're working on is, since Angelo's is done now, we're going to try to find a date, go out there, do a little photograph, get the county, some folks from the city, and then we'll post that on our website, as well as maybe do a social media blast about that, so we can get our name out, people can see who we are. A few of us, like myself, have volunteered to go ahead and have our names out there, so people can call us. And now that we're going to be engaging with some of the other business owners and residents, I feel like people really see what we're trying to do.
And I will say that through the Angelo's project, we learned a lot. The county really worked with us, because
Yeah.
it wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a tough project. So it's not unheard of how expensive things are gotten. That grant was for $25,000 to start, which we knew was going to be slim. But the original concept that we did for that facade was paint, do some window trim, replace the shingles on the awning, replace the coping up on the roof. We asked Steve to participate by doing a new sign and getting a mural done. I'm not real sure where he's at with that. There may have been some other odds and ends, like helping fix the downspout and all that. Our quote came in at over $70,000. So we had to quickly scramble because the money was supposed to run up and we had to spend it by the end of '23. And the money was going to run out. And actually, before we even got that quote, the county gave us a list of preferred contractors, or known contractors. I shouldn't say preferred because it's the county, but known contractors. And we had to use prevailing wage. We had one respondent. And the grant required 3 respondents. We begged and pleaded, couldn't get a number from anybody else. The number we did get was 3 times the grant. So we just quickly scrambled to get the scope down, which we did, but the best we could get it down was about $50,000. And the county ponied up and said, okay, we'll give you another 25, we'll give you to the end of 24, and you can use the only contractor you got numbers from. So they helped us out. They were great. They've been very much pushing for what we've been doing, very excited about what we're doing. And we got a lot of grace with that, and it got done, which is the big thing. So that was a lot, but if you got any questions?
No, thanks for coming up and for keeping us informed of where you're going and what you're up to.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my report.
Okay. Ms. Moody, thank you. Questions for the mayor? Okay, police chief's report. Jerry Deidesheimer.
Skip me.
City manager.
I ain't doing the city manager this week.
Yeah, we don't want to forget Scott.
Scott,
I used to get skipped all the
I
time.
apologize.
That's right, you did.
We'll do the city manager's report.
You want me to go, Ross?
Yes.
All right, few things here. Just fire department, we've still got the 1 open position. We've done the testing and I believe we've done did we do the agility?
Yes.
We did the agility, so there's 2 applicants. They're still scheduling the final interviews, but hopefully soon we will have our final full-timer. Police department, I'll let Chief cover all that. Road work, we kind of mentioned Forest and Madison. I believe tomorrow the base layer should go down, because I drove through it yesterday and I hit that. I mean, I went slow, but I still bottomed out on that, yeah.
It's like I backed up.
Yeah, it's a little rough back there, but it should start tomorrow and Thursday, putting the base layer. They'll have to do multiple layers and kind of probably even come back and dig some out and fix some things, but tomorrow, by the end of this week, it should look more like a normal road. Let's see, Harrison, speed bump, like I mentioned, that is in. I think the only thing left to finish up Harrison, the north section, is some signage. Not sure exactly what that is, but it's pretty much done. Let's see. Yeah, I already mentioned the southern portion of Harrison. That's probably pushed to next year. Same with Warner Madison. That's already been approved, but it'll probably start spring as well next year. We'll talk about the Joseph and McMacken. That's the one piece of legislation. Talk about that here in a little bit. Let's see. The library, soon the parking lot should get refinished. They're just putting a new coating on it. They're not going to grind anything or put any new layers. It's just put a ceiling layer on it and then repaint. So that'll be coming soon. Let's see, new updated gas prices. Consultants still recommend to wait. Let's see here, a bunch of grant updates. Yeah, the streetscape is still going. The survey that they're doing ends this week. And then hopefully within the next month, we'll have another steering committee meeting. And I know we'll probably have that one and maybe a third one. And then hopefully they'll kind of complete the process. And here in a couple months, we'll have the final report. Let's see. What's that? Yeah, I got that down here. Let's see, we did get a new grant. That's the picture I provided, the black and white. So this is not a road at Mount Healthy, but we got a grant through We Thrive. They're trying to increase walkability and just general traffic safety. So it's $9,000. It's called a pop-up. Was a pop-up grant, pop-up something. It's meant to be short-term. So This is going to be for the Perry and Compton intersection. That's called a curb extension. So you put in, I mean, if you want to know more what it's going to look like, I mean, this picture, but also College Hill, all that ugly stuff we hate. We're going to try it at that intersection just to try to squeeze the intersection. So it's temporary. If we hate it, doesn't work, or we just think it's too ugly, we can take it down. But this is a grant to try to increase the safety in that intersection. When I did an analysis of the crash data, Chief provided me the last 3 years. The worst intersection is Compton, Hamilton. That makes sense. Second is Reagan and Hamilton. That makes sense. Third is just right around Speedway. I think that makes sense. But then fourth is actually Perry Compton. So of all the stuff you see along Hamilton Avenue, I mean, Perry Compton is the fourth as far as number of crashes. So excited about this. I think it's pretty low investment. I mean, it's covered by a grant. Kind of see what happens, let it run for a few months, see if the crashes go down. You know, we kind of talked about it before. I think it would probably average 2 wrecks a year before the light got taken down, but now it's around 10 since the light was taken down. So it'd be nice to kind of just limit the damage that's being done to vehicles and just make it, in general, more safe. So that's exciting. Let's see here. So we were formally approved, well, I shouldn't say formally, we're approved for the demo of Antique Mall. The port tells me they're still waiting on the signed contract, but they've basically been told that it's approved. So working with Allgaier and Sons Demolition, and then a remediation company that's going to get out there and just check what, as far as we know, there's no asbestos, but going to have someone go out there and check once I get the final okay from the port. But hopefully within the next 3 months, that project will be complete, and we can complete demolition. Let's see here.
Is that going to be complete green space, or are they going to leave the front facade?
The entire thing's coming down. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Justin, Public Works Director, he actually just recently got a grant. And he likes to talk about how he's terrible with grants, but so far he's 1 for 1. So, I mean, he may become our official grant writer here. Chloride reduction through the Ohio EPA. So he got 31 grand to upgrade our brine creation equipment. So right now it's kind of homemade, just kind of whatever they could come up with, but this will increase the size of the tank. I think he needs like 3,500 gallons to do the whole city, and right now we only have a 1,500 gallon tank, so they'd have to do half the city, come back, make more brine, and it doesn't take that long, but it's just, you know, when you're trying to do it quick to beat a storm. So he'll be able to get a tank that can fit as much as he needs for the entire city, get a new piece of equipment that'll fit on a pallet that can just be put into the trucks, and just they'll be able to cover the whole town pretty quick. So pretty exciting for that one. Let's see, UDF, our favorite topic here. So when I talked to UDF, what they told me they were going to do is add an extension of the speed bump. I don't know. Hopefully they told you the same things they told me. What they told me. What they told me was extend the speed bump that's already there, so you can't enter the alley without hitting the speed bump, because right now you can kind of go around it if you need to. And then it sounded like they're actually going to add a second one behind that, so you'd have 2 speed bumps right in a row, and then they're supposed to fix the camera. So if they have told you differently, definitely let me know.
No, they were supposed to tell us, they had their experts out there, and they were going to look at the cameras, and they were going to do this. And all we need is another speed bump to piss people off and launch into our garage. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You know, you have grants to take care of Perry and Compton. Has any cars been totaled in those accidents?
I don't know if they've been totaled, but there's been some bad ones. There have been some bad ones. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think this
Right.
show our driveway.
Right.
You know, so I'm sorry, I just keep talking, do whatever you want to do, and when somebody gets killed in the alley, it's going to be on your face.
Sure. Well, if UDF at least doesn't do that much, please let me know. We have another speed bump that we're willing to install in that area to just hoping that if you can really slow people down, and this is not the speed humps that you can get at 20. I mean, if you hit these things at over 5, I would think you would break something on your car.
I think mostly it was a lot of miscommunication and talking back and forth to everybody, because we get numerous people, the CPO called us, and it's like, we do not you just do them. In fact, they were gonna be here tonight, and I said no. This morning, I said no. I said, we don't want any trouble, we don't want, we just want to protect our property. Everything we said to these UPF Douglas guys, they, shot it down. Shot it down. Kudos to Justin, because he had great ideas. Kudos to, Justin, but I don't think the speed bumps is gonna fix stupid from coming through.
Sure.
Okay.
Did they say at all what they were planning to do? I mean, were they gonna at least fix the camera?
And I said something about putting those poles up to extend the speed, the speed bump. And they were telling their employees they already lifted it up 2 inches. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
They did fix, when WCPO was going to get involved, they did fix, came out and scrub all the graffiti off that we've been asking for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
The UDF, and then they also fixed the surveillance cameras, and now there's a perfect view of our cars and that, and now the employees can't smoke out there, which we gave them permission, because they can't smoke on UDF, and now they're saying that they can't smoke there.
So we're making a lot of enemies and we haven't done
We
anything.
didn't do anything.
There is only one solution. They wanted us to put pillars on our property to protect our cars, and they were gonna make our parking area drive-through.
Right.
No, it's not our problem, it's your problem. You guys gotta do something.
Right.
We need to talk to you, probably not in a public forum.
Sure.
And we need to get the law director involved to find out what the original plan is and what the problem is.
Because this was.
I guess we don't have a law director anymore, but I don't care if,
No, we've got a law director.
well,
He doesn't come to every meeting because we're not gonna pay him to cover every meeting. We do have a law director.
we just gotta find
Yeah.
out
Sure.
how much the city can do for us. And
Sure.
anything, if not,
Yeah.
there's always.
That's my question, Mr. Sturworth. Do we know if the city has the authority to block that entrance?
I would think we would have to show extreme circumstances,
Well, I think we can do
I
that.
think this is it.
but I would
Will
think
you
those would
ask the
include
law-
death effectively, that
Will
people.
you
would
ask
look-
the law director to research that and hopefully have an answer by our next meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I did bring
Yeah.
it up to the, what's his, Clem?
Cling, yeah, cling.
And the other guy, UDF guy, if they had permission from the city to open up that for public access to come in and out,
When they built the,
and he
Yes.
didn't answer.
I mean, I'll get with our building official just to see.
Fixed when they built the new UDF.
And
well,
There is when the cars started getting hit.
obviously, they're not going to do it. And if we're allowed, I'm going to push the council to approve just blocking it off. But we need to find out
We need
if
to
we
get
have
legal
authority to do
advice,
that.
because it
Yeah.
is a public right-of-way.
Yeah.
If we block, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that I don't agree with what they want.
Ours, a public drive.
I understand, I understand that. I'm saying we need legal advice, that's all I'm saying, because if we're gonna do that, we need to know that legally we can do it. I certainly understand your frustration. I understand what you've been going through. But the city, that is a city alley, and we need to get our law director involved.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I can do that.
He needs to be the one to guide us as to what we're to do.
Mr. Redding?
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. They already have 2 access points. They have an ingress point and an egress point at Adams, and they have one on Hamilton, okay? So this is a third one. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I don't remember it in the drawings. So I would definitely think we need to check it and see if there was a sign-off for a change. And then third, I mean, it's a city street, and the city has the right to do with it whatever the heck it wants. It's not a state route. I mean, we've talked about stumping streets. We've abandoned alleys. We've even, at one point, said we're going to privatize some of the alleys, like the ones at Warner and Phoenix and some of those. So, and, I think we have a lot of options here, but I definitely want this, I would love to see this resolved. And in all honesty, I don't think UDF has even met us at the 50-yard line, you know? I mean, I just don't think they have. And it's not terrible to get in and get out on Adams Road. I've done it multiple times there. So I just don't see why this issue continues on and why they don't want to be a good neighbor.
Well, I think it's a legal issue we have to get through. We have to make sure legally what we can do. 'Cause,
I understand that.
I don't disagree what they're going through. I think we need to get a legal opinion and make sure that whatever we do, we've got the legal right to do it.
I'll get with law director and the building official, double check the permitting, just see how everything was approved and see what our options are. Get it by the next meeting. Let's see, so that's UDF. Let's see here, talked about Compton Perry. The sign that's gonna go up at Heritage, we're waiting on electrical permitting. That was kind of a last minute addition that they had ended up having to get, so was hoping that it would be installed by now, but hopefully get electrical permitting this week, and it'll go up soon. Just some things that are gonna come through the pike. I know, Bill Knight wants me to, and I think it's ready, but we might tweak a couple things. He wanted me to present a dumpster ordinance. Right now, we'd only have just a basic trash ordinance of, you're supposed to take your trash cans away. We don't have anything for rolling dumpsters, so gonna probably present at the next meeting. It's just it'd be a $50 permit, and you can have a rolling dumpster for up to 30 days, but just a way to track it, and if you're just not doing it properly, again, it's just a way to track it that Bill Knight can know who to contact if there's an issue, because right now people will just set these things up in the middle of their yard, and there's not really any ordinance to do anything against it right now. So that'll be coming soon. I know I'm still working with Gordon, our building official, to update our permitting schedule. I think that's just about ready to kind of get those more in line with the county and surrounding districts. So hopefully that'll be here at the next meeting as well. I think that might be all that I have. Yeah, that's all that I have. Unless there's questions.
Question for Mr. Bauer?
Not really anything on that. Somebody brought up the flag over at the memorial is tethered, probably needs a new one.
What is it?
The flag over at the memorial.
Oh, we saw that yesterday. So that's a new Made in America flag. We bought it just last year. I don't know how that thing. I was out there with Justin just yesterday, and we all looked up and it was in tatters. I don't know how that happened because it is brand new. So
Yep.
we will take care of that.
There you go.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, Chief, now it's your turn.
Okay. Couple things. We hired a replacement for John Roth, who left us, Austin Jones. He's not certified, but we got him a spot at the Ohio State Highway Patrol Academy. It's a fully funded academy through the state of Ohio. He starts Monday. That's a full-time academy. He stays up there, and that's all paid through by funds through the state of Ohio. He's expected to graduate in January, so it'll be a time before we get him back, but it's a great academy, and he'll be well-trained by the time we get him back in January. We ran the OVI checkpoint last month in July. They screened 400 cars. And I don't know if that's good news or bad news, no OVIs were detected. But with the assistance of, we worked well with North College Hill as well as the OVI task force through Blue Ash and the State Highway Patrol. So good police presence out there. Regarding traffic citations are up about 66% from last year. Traffic contacts are up over 60%, and Part 1 crimes are down about 27% from last year. So those are good numbers. Traffic crashes are also down 11%. So those are good numbers. We're trending in the right direction for sure. Councilman Redding mentioned the fact that we moved the traffic indicator on Elizabeth. We are going to use some of the Eagles money to buy another traffic monitor / display. This will be one that actually counts the traffic. It could be put stealth mode. It can also display traffic. The great thing about this is it's a cloud-based device that immediately gives feedback as far as traffic counting, highs, lows, median mode regarding all that, and we can move this thing around. So we can use that, and so we'll have 2 traffic displays, mobile traffic displays in the city of Mount Healthy, where we can put where complaints are made and the need is there. Let's see. I think that's all I really got. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief. Excuse me. Questions for the chief? Mr. Redding?
Just, Chief, on your report, the July 13 shooting, the shots fired into vehicle on Clovernook,
Yeah.
do we have any more information? And my big question is going to be is did these people know each other, or did the assailant know the victim, or?
Yeah. This location where this happened, they were known to each other. This was certainly targeted. It's been a problem location over at Clovernook. Those people were actually there was an eviction happening, so they were evicted like 2 weeks later, but it was certainly a known type situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely not a random event.
Absolutely not, no. All these things, every time we get these things, 99% of them, it's people that are known to each other. It's not a random thing.
Okay. And then that kind of reminds me about how are we doing on the Warner Avenue residence? Is that?
Yeah, unfortunately, Cincinnati just executed a search warrant and an arrest warrant there last week. So this information was passed on to, obviously, Mr. Bauer, as well as our law director and the owner/landlord. The story was on this place that they were going to serve them with the non-renewal of lease, in which they did at the beginning of August, which gives them 60 days. So their goal is to get them out of there by the end of September, if they're willingly to go after the 60 days. But then there could be some hurdles they need to jump through if the tenants choose to fight that. But we met with the landlord owner. He is committed to having these tenants removed. He understands the problem. I think he's sympathetic to our situation, and the fact that these things keep happening kind of strengthens our argument that
Okay.
people need to.
Okay. Cool. And then our head count, where are we at in the PD with head count? Are we?
Good. With Austin Jones, we are up to full strength. Yeah.
Okay, back up to full strength? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, Chief, thank you very much for coming. Okay, and moving on then to ordinances and resolutions. We don't have any second readings on either resolutions or ordinances. We do have a first reading on a new resolution. Resolution number 24-1222. A resolution authorizing the city manager of the city of Mount Healthy to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required.
So I've had this one listed on my report as Joseph Hill. That was a mistake on my part. It's the Joseph McMacken intersection, but it's Joseph between Compton and Hill, and McMacken Perry between Perry and Elizabeth. That's what JMA recommends be our OPWC project. That's what this legislation is. It doesn't specifically say in the legislation, but I mean, just tell me that that's what we want to do. Or we can add it now into the legislation now if we really wanted to. But Joseph and McMacken was the project that they were recommending.
McMacken from Perry to Elizabeth?
Well, maybe it's halfway between Perry
Just
and,
from Joseph to Elizabeth, I think.
is that what it is?
Was it part of, I didn't think it was too bad from Joseph down to Perry.
Okay, I could be wrong on exactly the length of McMacken. I mean, it's definitely between Joseph and Elizabeth. I mean, that portion's terrible.
And
in
maybe
general,
part
it's
of
that
this-
intersection.
Maybe part of this out here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is part of this right out here,
Okay,
I think.
okay. When does this have to be,
So they want it passed tonight.
when does it have to be submitted, by first?
I think it's the 1st of September, yeah, I believe.
Okay.
So the two key points are the location, which I think we've had Joseph and McMacken as our priority here for a while, but then it's the match. Right now, the legislation does say 30%. That's typically what we've done. JMA would always say, the higher you go, the more likely you are to get it, but 30%'s worked pretty well. I mean, that's what they recommend. Going down to 20 makes you less competitive in the bidding. So 30%'s what's in the legislation and what is recommended. But we can change it if you really want to.
I would recommend keeping it at 30. Which, like you say, 20% is going to get you passed
Right.
over.
Yeah, I think those days are gone of 20%. It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's a lot more competitive now, so.
Yeah.
And if this would hopefully be approved later this year, and then hopefully we would get bidding, and it probably wouldn't be until 2026 when it actually starts, but it'd be.
We need a second project to submit with this. We usually submit a first and a second.
Yes. Well, I mean, we don't have to. Let's see here.
If we would happen to get it, we'd be lucky. Well, I don't know, we've talked about Hickman, all of Hickman.
Hickman would be the next. I've not talked to anyone on that street about exactly what they want. I know that was a concern, at least from you, about parking and exactly how much would. I kind of need JMA to give me a mock-up of what they would recommend first. I have not received that.
Yeah.
Just to be able to show the residents.
Well,
like,
we would
hey,
have to get an estimate of the cost when we file it, or they'll come back and ask for that or something, because they want to know how much we need when they start their
right.
giving
yeah,
out their
yeah,
grants.
we will
Isn't
pick
that
it in
part two?
Yeah, we pick
Yeah.
the project. JMA will do a mock-up of it, and and that's what they submit.
Okay.
And then that's what they expect the.
We had Hastings, we've also,
I've got so Hickman was definitely the next one. So we submitted Seward with sorta.
Hastings, Hickman.
Hickman was the next one, but then Hunt Ridge, Van Fleet, Evencrest, Southampton, and Hoffner were the next three that.
Part of Hoffner has been done.
But Hoffner doesn't look bad.
Where's
Hunt-
Hoffner?
Hunt Ridge and Van Fleet,
which one's Hoffner, the one off of Martin?
yes, yep.
And then there's
Hunt Ridge and Van Fleet, that has,
Bridge is where you live.
On the Hunt Ridge is where it literally
Yeah.
is like there's a lag of.
And I guess our question is, what do we want to be second, Hickman or that one?
no, I don't,
I mean, Hickman is definitely worse.
Yeah.
Hickman is
Hickman is
not even
terrible.
on the street sometimes.
yeah.
I think we usually request 80%, a 20% match on our second, because we know we're not going to get it.
Right.
We usually do that just to get it scored.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we would happen to get it, that would be great, too.
So I can tell there'll be
So do-
two applications.
Council needs to say, okay. Not too many people are talking.
Yeah, so, so what this resolution is saying is that, authorizing me to tell JMA to submit an application. I mean, I can tell them to submit too. So, yeah, we just kind of need to give me a verbal that we want Joseph and McMacken, but then Hickman, if that's a thumbs up for the second one.
And not
Hickman.
worry about Hunt Ridge and Van Fleet again.
Well,
That would be after Hickman.
That would be after Hickman.
You gotta wait.
Welcome to my
Hickman's
world.
a through street, though. Hickman's a through street.
Yes.
People use Hickman a lot.
Street's on the list,
I
though.
would
That's
use
the
it.
first step.
Wish we could do them all. No.
So,
It's always been after Hickman. It's after Hickman on.
got your list there was, I don't think Hoffner was part of a request through Skip. I think we did that on our own.
It's on the list right before
No.
Hunt Ridge and Van Fleet, but if it's already done, then it can come off.
Yeah.
I thought we already took that off.
And I thought we did it in,
Yeah, I could be mistaken on Hoffner.
and I thought we did it internally. I don't, because why would you go to Skip for just Hoffner and not Hoffner, Hunt Ridge, and Van Fleet? And I think Hoffner was a grind and an overlay, not a complete
Yeah.
street redo.
I think Hoffner's probably a mistake on my part for having it there. I'll double check on that one.
I think they grind it down 2 inches and
But
then,
it is in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive it every day, so.
Council, what is your thoughts on this? We have a proposal to make, let's see, if I can get it straight.
Hickman, I think, is the proposal to be second.
Hickman's second
At 20%.
at 20%?
Uh-huh.
Anybody agree with that, or they want to make it 30%?
I agree with it.
I agree with that.
I agree with it.
20%?
Yes, sir.
On Hickman?
On Hickman.
Yep.
And we're doing 30% on McMacken?
And
Joseph?
Joseph.
That section of Joseph, are you going from
Save us money.
Hill to Compton, or
Joseph is Hill to Compton.
Hill to Compton? Okay.
I mean, it looks bad.
And
I mean,
then
I'm, just,
the
I'm
third-
looking at McMacken on Street View. I mean, I don't drive through here that much, but I mean, it does look bad. But the part that's just right out
Whatever
here.
JMA thinks.
Yeah.
Well, the worst section is, of course, between Joseph and Elizabeth Street,
Yeah.
which will break your shocks on your car.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting, too. There's a big hole there.
We already applied for Seward with.
Sorta, correct.
With Sorta.
Yep.
And that's on our list, pretty high up too,
Seward.
from Adams all the way
Oh, okay.
to the north end.
So, and that's what I was thinking about Hunt Ridge and Van Fleet. That's less than a half mile from Compton Road.
Everything's within less than half a mile from the.
Don't you just
from the
love
bus
it?
stop.
Don't you just love it? Yes.
Well, maybe next year.
So
we
that can get us on the sorta list too
we could look
for,
at that next year, yeah.
Yeah.
We've already got one in the
Yep,
pipeline.
so there's another way to, yep.
Okay, what else do we need to talk about here on this?
I think we're good.
That's it.
Third choice, or just leave it at that?
I think two's, we're not going to get a third. I think two's fine. Two should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, do we need to make a proposal or a motion for this, or
Well,
we've given verbal
Suspend
okey
this.
dokey to
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Bauer?
I don't know that in the past we've ever done a formal motion. I mean, if it makes you feel better, but I mean,
I think we should do the resolution as amended,
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I think, too.
right?
it doesn't
so
go
it
in the
says
resolution
capital
necessarily.
improvements to various streets, so I guess you just say
Resolution number.
Joseph McMacken, is that what you say? If that's how you want to change it?
Joseph McMacken and Hickman.
And Hickman. Yeah, that's fine. And then change it from, well, I don't know how you want to wordsmith this. Joseph McMacken at 30% and Hickman at 20%, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you need from St. Clair to Compton on Hickman.
From Compton to the south end.
Yeah,
May go
either
past
way,
St.
yeah.
Clair.
Well, it does, there's a little dead end piece, yeah.
I don't know if you want to get too specific, but JMA will figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I make a motion to suspend the two-reading rule on Resolution 24-1222 as amended.
Second that?
okay, we have a motion on the floor for resolution number 24-1222, and has been seconded by Mr. Redding. All those in favor, this is to suspend the
Just roll
two-reading
call.
rule. So all those in favor of said motion?
Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye?
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, the two-reading rule's been suspended. Any more discussion on this? Anybody have any more questions? Okay, then I would ask for a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 24-1222.
Mr. Young has made a motion to adopt Resolution 24.
I second.
1222. And Mr. George has seconded. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye?
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, resolution number 24-1222 is adopted. That is all of the ordinances and resolutions that we have. Old Business Council.
I do have one thing. I don't know if it's really old. I mean, we just talked about it, so it's old. So Madison Avenue, just back to your question, it was already a narrow street, but it's going to be more narrow because we actually have a defined curb. So if you remember driving through there, basically the road kind of slowly expanded because it was falling apart and people would just
Yep.
kind of throw out.
So we're parking in like what's
Yeah.
now the right-of-way.
I mean, it probably averaged about 20 feet wide, which is pretty narrow for a street. So I mean, I don't think there's really a fire lane or anything like that, but everyone on that street at least has a driveway. So I mean, it kind of takes some of the pressure off it. But just, I was thinking about it more and looking at the pictures. I mean, it is going to be more narrow just because there is a defined curb, but it's still the same road.
What street you talking about?
Madison, that connects to Forest, yeah. Sorry, just throwing that in there.
Yep, but it's,
You talk about narrow, wait till you get to Hickman.
Mhm, yeah.
Any other old business? New business, council. No new business?
The North Cottage Hill, Coleraine Township Fire Department's lost a fireman to just a sudden death over the weekend. The services are going to be Friday at St. Anne's and service on Saturday. Very well known in the community, just a great guy. He came in service about when I did back in the old days, but just very unexpected and couldn't ask for a better guy. So,
That's a shame that you lose people like that.
yep.
On the same note, Mount Healthy Fire Department has had a part-time fireman who had to resign for health issues, stage 3 rectal cancer.
Yep.
And he's a young man, so. Anyway,
you say there's going to be a procession?
There's not a procession.
Not a procession.
Just all at church.
any other new business, council?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Ms. Rissel has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.